Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing a mobile live this evening. I won't just chat with y'all for a little bit. I think last night I told y'all I had to do a little traveling with my little girl and all of that. Doing what we got to do. But tonight, as y'all come in, I want to talk about Black History Month just shortly. It won't be too long, and why we're seeing Black History Month being attempted attempted to being co-opted. I've never seen this before. I'll be honest with y'all, I've never seen this before with Black History Month. We always celebrated Black History Month. There's never been an issue or a problem. Nobody's ever tried to co-opt anything, but we are seeing this co-opting of Black History Month, and when we as Black Americans say something about it, if you notice, every time we say something, it's always, well, you shouldn't be saying that. The same old, got to quote Kamala, the same old tired playbook of, you being divisive, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, where we all the same, and this and that and the third. And I think at this point, um, hard boundaries have to be set. Okay, and hard boundaries being set with anybody or anything is a thing you just have to do. Even in your personal life, you have to set boundaries. You can't let any old body come to your house, and you know that. You can't let anybody live in your house. You can't let certain people even drive your car, borrow your car. Um, and certain people that you can't let not even borrow 50 cent. Why? Because certain you have certain experiences, maybe with certain people. That's just a line you're not going to cross. And boundaries is very good in your life. You got to set some sort of boundaries. The boundaries are standards. And one of the main reasons why, as Black Americans, we have had a problem is because we never set boundaries or standards. And when you don't set boundaries or standards, anybody has access to you, anybody has access to your culture, or whatever the case may be, you don't appreciate it. That's just human beings. When things become more exclusive, when things become scarce, then that's when the price is higher on anything, right? Like we talk about the jewelry thing. It's easier to go get a cubic zirconia versus go and get a diamond, right, in raw form. You can get 100 cubic zirconia tomorrow if you want to, but you can't get really 100 diamonds like that. Why? Because of the scarcity aspect. So what we have been doing for a long time is the cubic zirconia route. Anybody can get access to it. Anybody can get it plentifully. Even the folks they went and made so much bags off our culture, and we've never really stood there and pushed back. I think we have kind of allowed it because I remember at one point in time we were gatekeeping our culture a lot more when I was a kid. Definitely in the '90s. This how the gatekeeping would work. So if we were using a word and we heard them folks start using it, we stopped doing it. Now why? For us, them using that word, whatever word we were using at the time, it became lame the moment they start using it. So we say, okay, we're gonna stop using that word because now it's lame now because they're using. We had the attitude like this: if they can figure out what the meaning of that word is and start using it, then that word is no good for us no more as Black people. So we're gonna stop using it. The second thing we did back in the definitely the '80s, '90s, for sure the '90s, is that we didn't teach them everything. Now there was no social media for them to sit there and be, you know, ear hustling on everything either. Back in the gap, so they didn't have no um, social media. Versus now, social media can be a surveillance tool. They can sit there and watch us all day, hear we say all day. Then you got some silly Black folk that would love to tell, what does this mean? And then they go tell them. Just like I say, silly, silly, silly. But I think what we're doing now is good, and what we're doing now is necessary. With Black History Month, Black History Month, once again, Carter G. Woodson, it started off becoming Negro History Week. And if you go back to the time period when he, created Negro History Week, we didn't have mass immigration of people like that. Definitely of any other people from the diaspora. It was not mass immigration like that. Now, of course, you had some Caribbean people here, but definitely not people from the African continent like that. And even at that time period, they didn't say, okay, we need to put Caribbean history in this. They would say, no, it's the history of here. But why are they doing that? Why are they trying to co-opt Black History Month? Why now? Well, the overall plan is to dilute and erase um, Black Americans. And how do you do that? If you can Thanos snap someone's history, or at least dilute it to the point that it's blended in with an everybody conversation, then that takes away your reparations claim. You understand what I'm saying? Our history is the anchor to reparations. If you take away our history, if you make our history be comparable to everybody else, then we don't have a reparations claim. And that's the strategy. The history is the anchor to reparations in the form of cash payments. That's why they don't want to teach our history in school to anybody, because you teach our history, everybody will know you have a reparations debt, and in the form of cash payments. You understand what I'm saying? So the goal is take away the history. That's what it is. Now, Democrats and Republicans don't want to pay reparations. Democrats and Republicans look bad when it comes to that. But the Democrats have more pressure on them to do reparations because they have a debt owed with voting. Okay? Um, what do you say? It said they are so egregious as to do SB 340 for African Heritage Month. I don't. That's fine. You can do African Heritage Month. I really don't have a problem with that. We talking about Black History Month today, and the co-opting of Black History Month. They can do whatever month they want to do. They do Pride Month. They do all kind of months. They can have those months. I don't have an issue with that. I'm just saying, talking about Black History Month. So we have to protect. We have to gatekeep Black History Month and say no. Black History Month is about us. Now, if you say African History Heritage Month, then hey, support everybody in the African continent and African Heritage Month. I ain't got a problem with that. If you got Caribbean history, Caribbean Heritage Month, let's celebrate everybody Caribbean. That's no problem, because you can't throw everybody in one fell swoop anyway, because that's separate stories. The African continent is a particular story, and it needs to be told in full in the right way. The Caribbean, it needs to be told in full in the right way, and our story need to be told in full in the right way. And so you mean to tell me you can't? And look, we don't get the most month. We get 28 days. 28 days. There's no way we should be fighting. There's no way we should be fighting about the history and honoring our ancestors in this country. And once again, do you see us trying to go to the Nigerian Independence Parade and try to take over and say, "Hey, why you didn't include us? We should be included in this. You're divisive for not having Black Americans in a Nigerian Independence Parade or Nigerian Independence." They do. We don't do anything like that. But once again, I just know it has nothing to do with the immigrants per se. Even though, and I try to tell y'all, you got to think a little bit bigger than just the people you see saying things. You always got to look at the hand that you don't see. And the system of white supremacy is always the hand you don't see and the money you don't see going to people. Because there's money going to people, and there's and usually the hand the money coming from is not another Black person or Caribbean or an African. They will use them because if they come, look, think about it. If a white liberal come out and say something to us about Black History Month, he or she will be toward a new one quick. They know that. They can't say that to us. So they will go and tap the shoulder of a Sandra Boateng, whatever. They tap her shoulder. It's better for it to come from her than it comes from these white liberals at these think tanks. You understand? So for me, when I look at these situations, I look at it as the hidden hand, and these people doing what they've been doing. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate. They can be divide and conquer all they want, but you got to participate in it. And if you participating in it, then you are helping them. You know what I'm saying? And it's too many people in this country that help them. You know, like Dr. Claude Anderson said a long time ago, if slavery could have been ended pretty quick, actually. It was enough of us to end slavery, but a lot of us didn't have the will to end it sooner than what it was. Think about it. You know, if you had the attitude, man, I'm gonna die free, but I'm not gonna live like a slave. If you had that attitude, hey, look, okay, you take some out of life, but you ain't gonna take all of them. It's just one of them things. So you said you wonder why the NAACP didn't show any pictures of Dakara Thompson, a 19-year-old girl unalived by an illegal immigrant, was thrown on a bridge. Really appreciate your content. Well, once again, the NAACP, the Urban League, the Congressional Black Caucus, all those organizations that we're talking about here, they're all tied into white liberal Democrat money. They're not going to be on grassroots. That's not who they are. They're not set up to be grassroots. They're set up to be, the black managers on the plantation. That's what they're set up to be. They're not set up to be, think about it. If you look at the people who run those organizations, they all got the same look. They all used to have the same pedigree, the same background. They don't really have a lot of grassroots. And if anybody from the grassroots was to go in those organizations, they'll tear it apart, because you can't think about it. Let's say if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, Phil, I want you to be the lead of the NAACP in Houston." I look at him like, "You really asking me that question?" I said, "You seriously asking me that question?" I said, "'Cause I don't think y'all want to see what I do with the NAACP. I don't think y'all want to see that." I said, "Because I'm gonna come through there like Jesus when he went in there and beat the money changers and turned tables over. That's my way of doing things." I said, "Because everything you were doing before not working. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, 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 no. We gonna do this the right way." And I say, "Well," and the first thing I want to know, I want a forensic audit of every dollar coming in and out. I want to know who giving us money and where the money going, because whoever giving you money controlling you. So I want to know who they are. Period. If you want me to be a part of some of your organization, we got to know where that money going and where it's coming from. We got to know what cases the NAACP legal organization, legal fund, whatever, working on. What are you doing? And why aren't you working on reparations? That's a given. You need to be working on reparations. We got to have a whole team of lawyers working on reparations. So I don't think that's why they don't want nobody like me in them organizations, because them organizations not going to, all them folks going to leave. But well, you do that, Phil, and, we get this funding from them, let it go. We go to the people. The people going to fund us. We don't need their money. The people will fund us. Because if the people fund us, we could do a lot more for the people that way. But letting these folks, all these different folks of these corporations or whatever, give us money, and that's why you're neutered. No different than you go neuter an animal. That's why they're neutered. That's why they don't do anything for black people. That's just what it is. They don't do a thing for black folk. So now you can say, well, we can start some new organizations. Well, here's the issue I have against that. When you create organizations, now you're creating something that can be easily attacked, if that makes sense. So when you have a decentralized movement, and with decentralized movements, there's no one man or woman or group of people to attack, right? So when you have organizations, you could easily be put on certain type of charges and all kind of things. But when you're decentralized and you say, okay, the code is the leader, right? That's all it's the leader. We all on a particular code of conduct. We handling things a certain way. Now, what is the cons of decentralized movements? The con is people interpret it how they want to interpret it. Prime example. Let me give you a small example. There's people that may say, well, foundational Black American is just a lineage. Some people may feel foundational Black American is a lineage, but also give a green light just to start attacking anybody that's non-foundational Black American. Some people feel, well, I'm foundational Black American, but I can say the most vile things, and it don't really get us anywhere as a people. So with a decentralized movements, there's no structure or hierarchy on some things, right? Versus when you have a structured organization, it's gonna have like a structure. Hey, this is what we stand for. This is what we go by. And if you don't go by this, you're out. But decentralized movements are a lot better than organizations, right? Because if they cannot co-opt you, they're gonna try to destroy you. Well, it's much harder to destroy 40 plus million people on code versus a small group of people, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? So decentralized movements, even though it has some cons and some negatives to it, I still think decentralized movements are better overall than organizations. Now, I believe we should be organized in the area of our um, businesses, or maybe getting business groups together to conduct proper business in the Black community. Creating real estate, corporations so we can get homes and businesses, commercial property, financial, things. And I'm not talking about these financial scams. I'm talking about legitimate financial things to make Black people not only comfortable but get Black people wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And teaching Black people right, and just people that's gonna tell the real about finances and go at Black people for how they spend their money and why we don't have anything as a community, right? Because you talk about Black history. If you study Black history, our people were very good with their money. Our people wasn't buying nothing on credit. Our people didn't even want to owe anybody money. If you do the research of how they did their money, like they had a thing called a Christmas fund back in the Gap. And you know how people go spend all their money for Christmas? Well, what they would do, let's say every month they put, I'm gonna go in modern terms. Let's say every month they would put away $200 in a Christmas fund. Now they had at that time special savings accounts for Christmas funds, but let's say you just got a savings account and say, hey, every month I'm putting $200 in an account, and all I'm gonna spend is all year I'm putting this $200. If I want to put more, I'll put more, but at minimum I'm gonna put $200 all year. So you got all that money in your account. You know what I'm saying? Now when Christmas come, you can go buy things and you're not hurting. You're not spending no money. Our people used to do that. That's what our people used to do. Our people used to, get the cars they can afford and work on them and keep them. That's Black history I'm talking about. They would always put their money away. You know what I'm saying? They helped each other. The barter system. That's Black history, Black American history. And unfortunately, we've gotten away from the barter system. We've gotten away from Christmas funds. We gotten away from saving our money, like always having some money. You never wanted to be. Because I remember my grandfather. He always said that a man should always keep him some money. He said a man shouldn't be broke. And he said it don't matter if you're poor. A man shouldn't be broke. Because he said, what if something break in the house? Well, what you say? You think your wife gonna go do it? You say, no, you have to do it as a man. That's what my grandfather told me. That a man always got to have some sort of money, and it's not money to go trick off, to spend money in a restaurant and going to the movie and wearing certain clothes, and for what and for who? For what and for who? Clothes supposed to cover your body. Now, yeah, sometimes you want to look nice or whatever, but the real flex is, okay, go get that name brand, but go get it for 30, 40% off, 50% off if you can. That's a flex. You feel me? Shout out to Valerie. That's a flex. You're not flexing on nothing or nobody if you are out here spending all your last clothes that the people don't even like your behind, but you spending your last on that. That part don't make sense whatsoever. So if you study our ancestors and what they did, even in business, right? If we return back to that, we'd be sitting pretty as a community, and I believe we can, and some of us are trying to return back to that, where we create our own jobs. We don't beg these people for a job. We don't have to deal with them with their racism, their microaggressions, their attitude, the risk of working around them. Is Connor showing up, airing out the places he pissed off, he got fired. At least, listen, yeah, you may have issues at time with black people. Yeah, we may have some people that's messy, but usually, we ain't got to worry about DeAndre showing up and airing out the place if he get fired. Hold on, what would they say? You say that that Hellcat, yeah, that's funny. And if you do your research on car, you really do your research, you wouldn't buy that mess. Look, you can go even at go ask Gemini, ChatGPT, any of them. What is the top 5 cars based on longevity? It say, hey, I want a car that I can keep that will go up to 200,000 miles or more. Can you give me the brands that'll do it? And I promise you, because I did it, Hellcat is nowhere near it. Nothing Dodge is nowhere near it. I can tell you that ahead of time. You can go research it yourself. Nothing Dodge has or any American car was nowhere in the list. That's why I don't buy American cars. Trump and them talking about, when you buy American cars, man, the hell, I ain't never buying no American car. I ain't had one and I'm not about to buy one. Nope, Honda and Toyota, not Nissan. Honda and Toyota. That's the two. Lexus is the top one. Lexus is actually number one. Um, Lexus holding value. Even you got 100,000 miles on a Lexus, it still holds its value. So yeah, it was like Lexus, Toyota, Acura, Honda, all, but that's the same company though. It's mostly Honda and Toyota. And usually, if you think about it, most people, if you take care of your Honda, Toyota, it'll ride forever. Now Nissan, they changed that was that CVT transmission and some other things Nissan did that don't make Nissan run to 200,000 like a Honda, Toyota. But those of y'all, you say, who makes now? See, let me ask you a question about that Genesis G80. Why do you want a Genesis G80? What, because of the way it look, or because of it's going to last you and it's going to have great performance? Because I know black folk. I know y'all very well. Y'all want a look, and like, forget a look. What about the longevity? What about I can pay this thing off and not have a car note, and then I can still ride this thing around? You can throw a new coat of paint on the car. You can put some new rims and tires. You can go do the whole interior. You can make that car look fly. You know what I'm saying? People do it every day. But a lot of Hyundai makes I think they make Genesis, but Hyundai just wasn't in the list, and so that's the only reason I'm telling you I wouldn't buy it, just because it wasn't in that list. I want a car that has the ability to go 200,000 miles, so I ain't got to keep paying a car note. When you're not paying a car note no more, now you say, do you know car notes are break are causing debt for a lot of Americans? It's car notes. Car notes are a problem. I've seen black folks. I remember, never forget this lady on YouTube. It was a black woman out of Atlanta. She had got a BMW, and she was paying $1,200 a month for that thing. But she was happy she got a BMW. And I'm like, $1,200 a month for a BMW? That car ain't worth. That car's not worth that in the end. And I guess if you gotta buy one, if you want a BMW, that may be your dream car. Go get one that's about 3-4 years old. Don't go get one brand new, because after about 3-4 years old, you beat the depreciation, and then now you just buying the car. Now if you can buy it cash, that's even better. But if you can't buy it cash, at least go get something that's 3-4 years old. Don't go buy a brand spanking new. You say you have 384,000 miles on your '06 Lexus ES330. There you go. There you go. I ain't got to say no more than that. Right there. You said it was a. You said black folks spending $2,100 to $1,500 for a note and $600 for insurance. Yeah, like my grandmother used to say, they saw you coming. That's how they got you in that car. And this one don't make sense. You can have a $300 car note. You can have, I say $300 to $500 car note is affordable. You can have that, but you can't go get these cars. And then when you get lesser car, you go get you a car that's like 25,000, 22,000, something like that. And it's 3, 4 years old. The insurance gonna be affordable as well, even if it's full coverage. Now, unless your credit's bad and you got accidents and all of that. But if you don't have that issue going on, you won't be spending a bunch of money. Like, don't you want money to go do other things and throw it all on a car? And then the thing about these cars, don't pay that car for about 2, 3 months. Watch what happens in the middle of the night. They're gonna pick that car up. Let me tell y'all something, Scatterman. I would never, and I've done it. Okay, I've done it. I would never lease a car again. No, I will buy and want a title in my hand. Man, don't ever lease no car. Well, you could trade it in, and you are just paying for a car you would never own. Yeah, but you could trade in at the end, and you could buy it. No, no. I'm telling you from personal experience, I would never lease a car ever again. If I can't get a title in my hand when I'm done, I don't want it. It's just that simple. No, because if you bought that car for your business, right? Okay, you paid the car off. Now you can drive that car forever. You know what I'm saying? In your business, it's a business car, right? Well, what do you need a brand spanking new car for on a business? It's a work car, work truck. You don't need all that. You say your insurance is $70 a month and you don't have a note. There you go. There you go. You said you might as well go to budget rent a car. Why would I do that? You can't own that either. Instead of lease, oh, you never own it. Yeah. They'll get you. You say we can all agree electric cars are not the move. I don't agree with electric cars either because I'm sorry, unless the charging stations were like the gas stations, and unless the charging were about 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm completely charged up and ready to go, that'll be the only way I can think about that. And that's just not going to happen. They don't have the infrastructure in America to have a charging station like you have gas stations. So it just doesn't make logistical sense, at least for me. But hey, I do think electric cars are great for city driving. But like you drive out of town, then what? That's the only thing I say about it. But hey, you do what you got to do, right? You do what you got to do. I'm an old oil and gas man anyway, and I just trust more. I just trust more the gasoline and the diesel fuel over electric cars. Because check this out: when we had a hurricane, my cousin got one of them electric vehicles. Couldn't charge it. Could not charge it. But the gasoline powered stuff was running and gunning. No issue, no problem. So, oh man, my eye. No issue, no problem. Yeah. The Chinese EV, man, the Chinese EVs, the Chinese cars, a lot of that stuff is better than this stuff here. But these people here, 'cause, and I'm glad you brought that up. They claim they like merit, but they never want to compete. Because keeping the Chinese vehicles out of America, they know if BYD was to come here, and I seen the BYDs. They on when I that last time I went to Ethiopia, and I think I showed it on this channel, and I like, man, I'll buy one of them. I said, man, this is fly. This is nice. And they had the English thing, so you can go from Chinese to English. So all that, they don't want BYD here. They don't, because the American car market I'm gonna say American cars would be cooked. I think the only American car that do good is a Corvette and the Mustang. Them two do good. Um, Man, the Ford F-150 still do good, things like that. But outside of that, and then BYD got trucks as well, and they don't trust me. These people cannot compete. So when they can't compete, they block. That's why we don't have the Chinese vehicles here. That's why. Now look at your boy Trump. He mad that Canada is trying to make a deal to bring the Chinese EVs to Canada. What is he mad for? If Canada wants Chinese EVs, that's their business. You know why he mad? Because if they have it in Canada, people that know Canadians, they were like, wait a minute, how I go or whatever. They may even go over there to Canada. People go to Canada all the time. And then they see how the cars. I say, why we can't have one of them cars in the US? And then they go start being put pressure on them. Like, man, these Chinese vehicles better. Like, we got Japanese vehicles. Why can't we have Chinese vehicles? But it's competition. I remember the CEO of Ford was talking about he had a Xiaomi car, and he said that he had to pay 100% tariff on it though, and got it over here. He said that was the best car he ever had. He never even wanted. He said he said, why don't we have more like this over here? And this guy, Ford's guy, saying this. You said a 70K Hellcat will only last 100,000 miles at the most. And then at the same time, why would you go get you a Hellcat? What sort of YNs to try to pull up on? Every time I seen videos of the YNs, they trying to pull up on somebody with a Hellcat or whatever. That's how many times have you seen the YNs try to rob somebody of a regular car? They don't want that. Now you may have some ones that'll do it, but that's just not the norm. You say it's dangerous only one? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't see. I really don't see the deal with that. I mean, if I was looking for a car for speed, only Nissan. I think I would. What the Nissan GTR? That's for speed. What is it? The Audi? Is it the R? Is it the R8? I think it's the R8. I think so, or whatever. If you're looking for speed outside the Lambo and Ferrari, but you know, a Mustang. Nah, I can't do Ford. I don't care if it's a Mustang. I can't do Ford. Can't do it. Can't do it, y'all. Can't do it. But anyway, I know we kind of veering off into it, but we on mobile. We not as we more free a little bit because when I'm in the studio, hey, we gotta do our thing, right? I heard that he trying to stop a Canadian bridge from opening and Canada paid for it. I did hear about that. Trump is so petty. He's so petty. It's like if the Canadians paid for it, what's the problem? He talking about, oh, we should. I saw what he said. We should own this and we should own that. Why don't you go build some new bridges in this country? They not even building bridges in this country. They say that all our bridges need to be repaired, and a lot of them need to be replaced. Build bridges here. Like if they pay for it, what's the problem? You say they got a computer programming to take the car without you being there. Oh, okay. Well, all these cars got the low jack on them. That's why you can't really hide. Like you owe payments and they want to pick it up, you can't hide it. You cannot hide it. And it's in the paperwork that you can't remove it until you pay it off. Now you pay the car off, you can get it removed. But as long as you're paying a note, they want that low jack on there. So back in the day, people they owe the car note. They have to worry about their car getting picked up. They'll hide it in the garage. You know. Um, but shoot, you hide in the garage today, they ain't gonna do you no good. Cause they just call the police and say, hey, we want to pick this car up, but they won't give us a car. And so either they give us a car, we're gonna press charges. You say why Trump don't leave Canada alone? I don't know. Canada didn't do us nothing. And then the deal is, I talk with Emma. Like Canadians all pissed off at us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't done nothing to Canadians. And I know Canadians, you could be watching. We ain't got nothing to do with Trump. I don't know what he doing. Ain't no American I know is saying, yeah, go mess with the Canadians. Man, nobody trying to mess with Canada for what? They ain't do nothing to nobody. They mind their business. They don't get involved in our business. So why I don't know why he picking on Canada for. I don't know why. I don't know why. And you know the real talk with him, he's trying to do anything he can to take everybody sent off the Epstein files. Man, that dude named so much of them Epstein files. I never get that email I read that alleged, I have to say that accused him of allegedly funding parties. So because you know good well when somebody lying on him, he'll come out and say that's a lie, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm gonna show y'all, but he keeps saying, oh well, let's move past them files. Like, no, we need to go into them. But but yeah, madam, hey madam, are you asleep? You know what I mean by that, right? Are you? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I gotta go tend to my little one over here. She ready to get her something to eat. But anyway, y'all, I just wanted to check in. I know it's late. I don't normally come on this late, but yeah, y'all make sure y'all tap in. I maybe do another mobile live tomorrow, or whatever. Chop it up with y'all. But thank y'all. We catch y'all in the next.